good. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Stu Kowalski is going to provide me with some backing by way of the spinning vinyl platter. Woo. This is called Why I Copyleft My Work. I copyleft my work because it's a cultural mash out there. It's a slather. It's got lots of different media and file types and influences. My work is made to be replicated and copied and duplicated and cloned. Nothing, and I mean nothing, gives me more pleasure than to hear that something I've written has ended up as a lyric for a Westie death metal band or made into a student animation project in Finland. I want to be part of a long-term solution and not perpetuate the copyright ownership problem that we're all in right now. I decline the opportunity to establish and support an old print media industry which includes as its employees the likes of the following. This is a nasty list. Dude-bellied business-suited men, metrosexualized and bathed in cologne and tweaked hair gels, driving briskly from one red light to the next in Auckland peak hour traffic, all bottle blonde, PR and spin woman with a cell phone constantly in their hand, arranging exclusive interviews and speaking arrangements with their parent media companies. And I certainly do not want to support the lawyers who litigate at the drop of a hat and insist on making me desert my principles and hand over contractual ownership of my intellectual property to foreign-owned media companies, or support the China syndrome where my work is printed and collated for the least dollar amount in a Southeast Asian tiger economy with no regard to carbon miles or the Buy New Zealand Made campaigns. I certainly do not want to support a retinue of editors and designers and marketing folk and secretaries and flunkies who just say yes. Just say yes at all of the meetings. I don't really want to support the minimum wage slave Polynesian cleaner toiling away in the graveyard shift. I do not, and I fucking do not want to support the accountant and the bean counter. I probably would happily support the storeman. I'd probably happily support the receptionist. I'd probably happily support the warehouse supervisor or the forklift and the truck driver, but I will not support the sales rep at a late model car, nor the overdressed personal assistants of the CEO and the deputy CEO and the regional and the divisional managers, etc. It's a long list, clearly, but it's a finite one. It comes to an end eventually. So, it comes to an end like a historical inevitability, as Marx has once said. Nothing, and I mean nothing, that I've just told you about and written about here this morning will sustain or nurture. It will just exploit, and it will just eventually lay waste to everything, and I mean everything around it. Full stop. End of poem. Clearly I've had some moments in my life which have been punctuated with a great degree of sadness. No big deal. It's like in the job description, experience shit and then write about it so other people can understand when shit hits them. I must admit that one of the saddest moments of my life was aged 48 years old, trying to hitchhike from Blenheim to Takaka, where I realised I was the oldest thing on the side of the road. I'd rolled up my sleeves so people could see that clearly I had no tats and I wasn't fresh out of prison. I was clean shaven, not that you made me look like 12 years older straight away anyway. It's like, oh no. I thought that maybe I could get from Blenheim to Takaka in about 4 hours flat. Try 16 and a half hours later. Anyway, at some point I'm stuck on the side of the road and I write this. In a white-hot frenzy of fucking anger and upsettedness. On your marks, let's go. There's no tradesman Nazi in a ute who ever stops for the hitchhiker. They're the new nouveau, They have the money and they have the arrogance nowadays to have completely forgotten their roots. It's one thing not to expect a lift from a scared middle-class couple or an elderly person peering over their steering wheel. But it's the climate of fear that gets me. Everybody is afraid of each other, afraid of getting left behind, of having less gadgets and widgets than their neighbours. It's a funny old world. I'll repeat that. It's a funny old world, and it takes something as small and grounding as hitchhiking to realise just how sad and fearful and insular a nation we have now become. It's a startled look of fear and apprehension that fills most people's faces. The Jewish tourist up the road, he's got a much better chance than me, so I say, visit us first, please. I find his presence strangely troubling. A Zionist on the side of the road on the outskirts of Nelson with Raphaelite curls, but I know he's had 1 year basic military training under his belt already, and then a desire to flee Dodge City and get the fuck as far away from the threats of Palestinian rockets and mortars and suicide bombers. I know not all Jews are Zionists, but all Zionists are Jews. Full stop. And then there is the old truism. No new car ever will pick up the hitchhiker. No Prada, no Pajero, no Big Horn, nothing, and I mean nothing, that the scared middle classes will drive nowadays, cowering behind their inexorably upwards house values. It's all that life means to them now. None will make eye contact, and some are openly derisive and derogatory. There's no ute, no SUV will pick up the hitchhiker, nothing towing a trailer or a boat, nothing with a body kit or a spoiler or a whale tail, nothing with some teenage horror sitting in the passenger seat. Nobody has the spark of youth anymore. This property boom has been too serious and too life-changing. I know the rags to riches stories abound. People fortunate enough to own at the trough and then fortunate enough to sell at the peak and make a bundle. I've heard the story 1,000,000 times now of those people and their chance get-rich schemes. Up through the gears go the middle classes. Up through the gears go the middle classes. Got to get to top speed as fast as possible. Nothing with mags will stop. And then there is the inverse proportional ratio that says the bigger and more empty the car, the less chance you have of getting picked up. It's the higher the decile of the car owners, the less chance you have got to be picked up. So, we all know the poor don't make car journeys anymore, only the middle classes, the tradesmen and the rich. So, what chance have the humble hitchhiker got to be picked up now? Up through the gears go the middle classes into top speed as fast as possible, always focused on the destination and never, and I mean never, focused on the journey. People are scared of each other now in this country. They're scared of the differences between socio-economic classes. Nobody's talking civil war, but many are now thinking it's a historical inevitability. Sometimes I notice the tradesmen will tease. They'll slow down and look like they're going to pull over, and then they'll honk and give you the fingers and yell out the window, and a bottle will get tossed at you if you're unlucky under the cover of the coming darkness. Nothing like throwing a bottle at a hitchhiker, nothing like being a redneck bastard in a small provincial town where your views can go largely untroubled from cradle to grave. Nothing will shake your stupid complacency and your narrow-minded ignorance. The poor, armed with weapons and looting and the food riots, possibly will shake them if the middle classes don't actively participate with that anyway. What with the price of petrol and the number of tourists who never stop for other tourists, it's kind of a reverse sort of snobbery. And I have another theory. The fatter and more obese the driver and the passengers are, the more unlikely they are to stop. So let's recap. Obese people driving in a new SUV means no show. A solo mum, I understand that, driving by herself, no show. A nuclear family group, no show. A mum and a dad, a young couple, a boy racer and his girlfriend, no show. A truckie, a tradesman, anybody towing a trailer, whoa. Nobody who's a tourist, whoa. Nobody with ski racks on their roofs, all those stupid coffins that people now put onto their SUVs that wreck what little aerodynamic stability your car had in the first place. Up through the gears, up through the gears, up through the gears go the middle classes. Full stop. End of poem.